Welcome into the State of Sports. This week, we were supposed to have Nocturnal on. That got pushed back to next week. So just preview next week. We're going to be doing Ed Reed versus Ronnie Lott. I'll be taking Ed Reed, and Nocturnal will be taking Ronnie Lott. So I'm really excited for that. Two great NFL safeties, but obviously I'm here with the normal crew. Nick, how you doing tonight, man? Happy 4th of July. You know, we're working on 4th of July. You know, people take the day off. You know, we're working for you guys.
We're working late.
We don't get that luxury.
We don't. How was the day, though? You enjoyed it? Did you get outside, do anything fun?
I did watch some fireworks that are going on outside my own house.
Same here, man.
Yeah, I got that too.
Yep, Morgan, how you doing down there in Georgia, man?
It's fucking great. It's like still 80 out. It's great. Fireworks are popping off everywhere. Everybody's having a good grand old time.
Yeah. I mean, at the end, for all those people that have watched Independence Day, you'll have Bill, the president's speech at the end of this podcast. It's one of my favorite speeches in a movie of all time. But that being said, our topic today is actually fan-driven. One of our guests that we had on here, Carlton Charles, wanted us to do an episode on athletes who are injured during their career that kind of derailed their career and, you know, kind of what could have been and such like that. But before we get into that, speaking of an injury, Giannis is hurt, but the Bucks are going to the finals.
Sure are. We called it.
I mean, me and Nick said they were making it through the gauntlet.
Gauntlet? What gauntlet?
What are you talking, dude? They beat Miami. They beat Miami, who beat them last year. They beat the
injured
Nets.
Miami team, an injured Nets team, and an injured Hawks team.
First of all, every team is injured right now.
Okay, yeah, they beat it. They beat the Hawks without having their best player.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it was that impressive.
Morgan, you just hate Giannis so much.
So much. It's kind of sad, man. Like
I mean, Chris Middleton's carrying him right now.
Just enjoy Giannis, man. He's so good. You're never gonna see somebody like that again.
Yeah, I'm not convinced they're not better off without him.
He's a 2-time MVP, back to back. Like, and if he gets this fight, dude, he's only 26. Like, I hate it when we put like caps on these athletes being like he's overrated and blah blah blah. You want to say that about Westbrook at this point in his career? Fine, whatever. But he still averages a fucking triple double. You want to say empty numbers? Like, we're getting to a point where empty numbers don't mean anything anymore. People call Trae Young's numbers empty. People call Devin Booker's numbers empty. Look at them. Young was on the cusp of the NBA Finals, and Devin Booker is in the NBA Finals. Like, let's stop talking about like empty numbers and like MVPs not mattering. Like, it does matter. Like, Giannis is an all like world player.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm happy for Giannis. I hope he comes back and I get to see him in this finals. That being said, it's gonna be hard to beat that Phoenix team. It's gonna be hard to beat that Phoenix team.
I mean, especially with my boy CP3 going off the way he did in Game 6. Or 5, whatever it was, 6, 5.
It was 6, yeah. He had 41, and I think he
41, and he scored 25, 26 in the second half?
No, he had 31 in the second half.
31.
And he had a stretch, I think, where he had 15 out of 17 points straight.
He wanted to go to the finals.
He wanted to go to finals, to lose.
You know, in the words of T-Mac, feels great to be in the finals. Except he actually did it.
He did. So I'm curious to see how it's going to go for him, to be honest. Like,
I hope they do well.
I think it's the Bucks in 6.
If Giannis comes, I mean, Morgan does have one good point about the Bucks, and I'll give him that. They only go as far as Chris Middleton's going to take them.
Well, Chris Paul is a good State Farm agent.
I mean, Giannis, he's going to get his 30 and 10, 30 and 15, whatever it is. But if Middleton's not getting... But if Middleton doesn't get his 20 to 25 points, they're not going to win.
I mean, it's going to be very interesting, man, because they got like Milwaukee's got Drew Holiday. It's not Eric Bledsoe. Like, you throw Drew on either Chris Paul or Devin Booker, and he's giving them hell every game. Like, he's one of the best defenders in the NBA on the perimeter. So I'm excited for that series, man. I just hope Giannis is healthy. I want, like, please just give me like a 7-game series with everybody being healthy on the court. I just want a good finals.
What do you think the ratings are for that?
Not good.
I disagree.
I don't think they're gonna be great.
I think a lot of people really fuck with Phoenix. A lot of people want to see Chris Paul. He's like, I mean, obviously you see him anytime the NBA is on, because he's on every fucking State Farm commercial ever made. But
but I would say the majority of people who see State Farm commercials don't know who Chris Paul is.
No, they know Cliff Paul.
Yeah.
cliff.
I don't know.
I think the rating's
don't-
going to be low. I think it's going to be the lowest
Yeah.
rated finals in a while.
in a while. Yeah,
I disagree.
I agree. I don't.
I disagree.
Well, I mean, if Giannis is out, it's going to be a boring final.
See, that's fair if Giannis is out, but if Giannis is
But-
playing, like, this is like 2 first finals teams in a long time. Like, obviously, like, markets mean a lot, but like Phoenix isn't that small of a market. Obviously, Milwaukee, of course, like, is small, you know.
Neither
but,
of them are big market teams.
yeah, I'm
I mean,
excited for it
I
though.
think the real story of this finals is Aaron Rodgers and Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, because they're both.
minority owners.
I mean,
Rodgers
shocker,
with the Bucks.
shocker, the
Fitzgerald
NFL
with the
taking
Suns.
over everything. Listen, Nick, I know it's 10:30 and there's no yawning out here. Okay, you take your Red Bull and you put your big boy pants on like
I was
the
just
rest
mimicking what the rest of us were going to be doing watching that finals.
of us. Fair enough.
Pretty fair.
So let's switch over to the topic at hand. We have athletes who are injured to derail their careers. We're gonna do MLB, NBA, NFL, and I think Morgan's got MLB players. I got NBA and NFL. Nick, do you have any players, or are you kind of
I just kind of went with a bunch of them.
Yeah, because we
got some talking points down.
Yeah.
I'll just cross-examine.
I was gonna say we all threw them down on like a list in our text message together.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start it off because this was fan driven, and this is Carlton's boy back playing, I believe, NBA Live. Jonathan Bender. For people who don't know about Jonathan Bender, he was drafted to the Pacers. He was essentially Kevin Durant before Kevin Durant. He was almost like a 7-footer, could dribble, could shoot, and just had, terrible knee injuries over and over again. And his story is one of like the best stories of like what could have been, because imagine like seeing somebody like Kevin Durant before Kevin Durant. Like, I think Kevin Durant's an alien on a basketball court.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean,
I think he was a little more explosive than Durant too.
yeah, like definitely more athletic than Durant.
Yeah.
I mean but that's saying something too, because Kevin Durant,
he's freakishly athletic, but
yeah,
I guess more physical is the better word.
Physical. He was definitely a lot more filled out than Durant.
That's
based off
that's what I was
photos.
looking
Yeah.
for.
yeah.
Probably didn't have like, the skill set, because Kevin Durant is honestly going to end up being like a top 10 player all time.
Probably
But-
already is.
Yeah.
Probably already is. Like, if somebody wanted to argue Kevin Durant's top 10 player, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. I agree.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's my first one. I wanted to give a shout out to Carlton Charles. He's got his fight coming up August 21st.
This was fun researching this, so thanks for that, Carl.
Yeah, thank you for the idea, man. Morgan, you go ahead with your old baseball guys.
All right, so my first one I've got, it's a hometown hero for the Red Sox, Tony Conigliaro.
Tony
Tony
C.
Tony C. Everybody calls him Tony C. So this
Tony.
Born in Mass, from Lynn, Massachusetts, started for the Red Sox at 19 years old in 1967.
That's crazy.
He was part of the 67 Impossible Dream Team, but that was the year he got hurt. He holds the record for most homers by a teenager with 24. And then he led the league in homers with 32, and he still hit 100 home runs by age 22.
Pretty
What?
fucking good. He's all right.
So, yeah, so his injury, he got hit in the face by a pitch and suffered a severe eye injury. He tried a couple comebacks, but never really played the same. In 141 total games in, the year after his injury, he hit 20 homers, 81 RBIs, comeback player of the year. He finished his career 166 homers, 566 RBIs, 876 total games.
Probably should have saw that ball coming, huh?
Unfortunately, he had a tragic ending. He had a heart attack at 37.
Oh, I can't even joke about it then. Now, damn.
Never really recovered. Pretty much he had
That's
suffered
sad.
brain damage, died of a stroke and kidney failure at 45.
Damn.
So really sad stuff there.
I apologize, Tony C.
yeah.
So
That's no
sad
good.
for the Red Sox. He's a hell of a player.
Yeah.
I mean, plus, especially back then, they definitely didn't have the knowledge that we know now when you get hit in
No.
the fucking head.
No. And I think
Yeah.
that's with a lot of these athletes we're going to discuss today. Like, modern medicine was not like around for them.
It makes you wonder, like with him just dying of a stroke later, like if that had anything to do with it. Which nowadays, by today's medical standards, they probably would have been able to catch that earlier on, at least keep him under observation and stuff like that. That sucks.
Yeah, it does. It stinks.
So I'll go to my next guy. Probably he would be my favorite Cub if he stayed healthy. My boy Mark Pryor. This kid was nasty.
He was okay.
Dude. So I'll start with his college because he transferred to USC in 2001. He led them to the College World Series with a 15-1 record. He had a 1.69 ERA and 202 strikeouts in 138 and 2/3 innings.
He's no DeGrom.
In 18 walks.
No, it's DeGrom.
He was DeGrom before DeGrom.
No, he wasn't.
So draft, he was a second overall pick the year after college. He started in only 9 minor league games before they called him up to the show that same year.
That's pretty crazy.
Part of the 2003 Cubs run, which fucking Bartman.
So I'm surprised Mark Pryor's on your list because I thought originally you were doing a bunch of just like fucking black and white card baseball players.
I was, but Mark Pryor's my boy, and I feel like people need to know because this man is an absolute beast.
He
Yeah.
couldn't even throw over 100 miles an hour.
He didn't need to. His slurve and his curveball were 12-6 and just dirty. But his injuries piled up. He had really one fully healthy year where he went 18-6. Other than that, it was a lot of spotty starts here and there. But
Mismatch. Yeah.
it was really that 03 season. Dusty Baker ran him into the ground.
Gotta love Dusty.
He averaged 117 pitches in the regular season per start, and then it went up to 127 in the playoffs. But
I mean, at that point, you're trying to win. Like, who gives a shit?
yeah, but
Like,
I mean that.
Like, I mean, honestly, like if you're the Cubs and you win a World Series that year, like, do you give a shit if Mark Pryor doesn't have a career? No.
I don't know.
Like, yeah, no, for sure. It's like he was. Honestly, all jokes aside, he was disgusting. He was very good. But talking about a great college athlete that never translated to their sport because of injuries, honestly, it reminds me of Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford at Oklahoma, his sophomore year, was the fucking truth.
Very good.
I didn't realize this until I did some research today. First off, Sam Bradford could never keep his knee healthy once he reached the league. I remember hearing stories about it, like it being bone on bone, just like nothing left in his
Cartilage
knee anymore.
gone. Yeah, everything.
But that sophomore year at Oklahoma, Heisman winner, swept all the QB awards. Do you want to know who he won the Heisman over? Colt McCoy and Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is arguably the greatest college football player of all time, and Sam Bradford won a Heisman over him. That's absurd. He's one of like the most accurate passers in college football history. I think at one point in the NFL, he was leading the league in completion percentage, like close to 70. He's just one of those guys that, like, if he stayed healthy, I'm curious what he could have done. And, you know, like him in St. Louis, like, are the Rams potentially still in St. Louis if he has like a full career? Maybe.
No, probably not.
I mean,
probably not.
Nobody wants to be in St. Louis. Let's be honest.
Not even St. Louis.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, Morgan.
Yeah.
Did you? I don't know. Are we sticking on baseball?
oh, we're just gonna jump back and forth.
Jump around. I don't know if Morgan, if because I know you had taken the reins of baseball, but I had written a few down. Did you have a Dean Chance on your list?
No, I didn't.
I was looking up some stats with him.
I saw that. Yeah,
as far as pitches went, because you brought in Mark Pryor. 1964, he won the AL Cy Young Award. Went 20-9 with a 1.65 ERA, but he had to retire in 1971, only at the age of 30, because he had suffered a stroke.
Jesus Christmas!
Like, that just like that run in '64, that's fucking crazy.
That peak is absurd.
1.65 ERA, dude. Like,
that's insane.
Just like to have to retire. Like, so he won the AL Cy Young Award in '64. He retired at 71. Like, that's not a very long career.
No,
yeah, that's the same kind of thing with Mark Fidrich, who's one of the ones I did.
Nice.
His rookie season had a 2.34 ERA, 19-9. He had 2 straight starts where he threw 11 inning complete games. That his rookie season, he had 24 complete games in the season.
Damn.
Different time back then.
Now,
It was a very
nowadays,
different time.
Analytics change pitching.
Yeah, I mean, like they're throwing like 80-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Yeah, he finished runner-up to Jim Palmer. The crazy story with Mark, though, is he tore his rotator cuff in 1977 during just throwing the ball around during a game, and they didn't diagnose that until 1985.
I love it. Modern medicine, baby.
So
you look at so many of these players, like baseball in particular, that just like all of them, the common theme is like never made it over 140 games a season, 150 games a season.
Wow.
Like I had Fred Lynn, who played for the 75 Red Sox.
Yeah.
He was the first player in history to win the AL Rookie of the Year and the AL MVP in one season. He had a .238 career, and he has never been inducted because he never played over 150 games.
It's crazy. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of great young talents, let's just, you know, tap in on Brandon Roy. Up for those Portland Trailblazers. He was nasty.
He was human highlight machine.
When did he exit? 27?
27 due to like just degenerative knee issues.
Oh,
like how sad is that? And then
I could retire at 27.
yeah, I mean, he was incredible, man.
Oh my God.
His career arc was going to be like so high, like, you know, probably at that point he was in the NBA with like Wade and such, like matching Wade for like who's the best two guard in the NBA, and Kobe, of course, but we don't have to talk about Kobe right now.
It wasn't even that good.
No. And you know, it's sad. And speaking of him, one of his teammates, another bad knee situation, Greg Oden. I mean, I feel like people like always like to dog Portland for, you know, the pick. I forget the guy who they drafted before Jordan.
Trailblazers. No, the Trailblazers. Right?
Yeah, well, like the Trailblazers draft Greg Oden over Kevin Durant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, what is
But
that guy's name? I'm gonna kick myself. But I do want to give Greg Oden his due. Greg Oden was literally supposed to be the next Bill Russell.
He was an absolute animal. He was a tank at Ohio State. He couldn't stop him.
Couldn't stop him, and he was just one of the best like college rim defenders I've ever seen play in my life.
Yeah,
like
there was
I
remember
no
the
easy
game
buckets.
at Ohio State in the tournament, and they had no matchups. Nobody had a matchup for him.
Yeah,
he wanted 30. He'd get 30 and 10 if he wanted to. It was no problem.
And then he averaged 16 and 10 in college as a freshman.
Yeah,
and like he was just incredible.
I got that pick.
Is it Bowie? Bowie, yes.
Bowie.
I was gonna say it's Bowie. That's right. Thank you.
Akeem went first.
Akeem went first, and then Sam Bowie, then Jordan.
Michael Jordan went third.
So
imagine the greatest player of all time picked third. Well, kind of like shades of Tom Brady.
Brady was 199.
Really quick on that, I want to touch on that. If you're Houston and you draft Akeem, do you kick yourself for not drafting Jordan?
No,
I mean, you still win 2 titles, right?
I think
I don't think so.
I think Akeem had a great career, and I think that was really good for them.
Yeah.
Akeem is arguably one of the best centers of all time.
Oh yeah,
or the best.
Now here's an even crazier question: is Michael Jordan as successful if they do pick Michael Jordan?
Probably. Yeah.
I think
Jordan's successful anywhere he goes.
You think? Yeah. Do you think he wins that many championships with them? Without Phil Jackson at the helm, without Scottie Pippen going there, without Horace Grant,
no Tippin Pippen,
no Rodman. You think he's as successful?
Speaking of Scottie Pippen.
Just an unbelievable.
Did you hear this man call Phil Jackson a racist? Scotty, baby, what is he doing?
He just doesn't know when to stop.
He doesn't. Like
he's still hurt from how he looked in the documentary with Jordan.
Bro, he was like, "Yo,"
I did read they dogged him.
He was like, "Yeah, man, they gave Tony Kukoc a shot because he was white." Like, what?
Or maybe
I guess that's why they give Michael Jordan all those shots beforehand.
I mean, maybe Tony's probably just a better, set shooter. Which that shot was. It was a set shot. Like,
maybe it's because the fact that you sat down when somebody else didn't let you take the shot is why they wouldn't give you the last shot.
Yeah,
because you're that kind of player with that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I just want to stick with the NBA while we're here. I just can, finish up with the last 2 I got. Penny Hardaway, we already touched on him on a previous debate. That being said, go back through our catalog, listen to Penny versus Tracy McGrady, where I went to the floor with Morgan.
I did just real quick.
I don't recall it that way, but
just because of the Greg Oden,
one
that you entered, which was originally one of the things that Carlton had requested this one that we talk about this.
Yeah.
And Greg Oden is definitely like a good example of just a player who kind of gets shit on for something that was never really his fault.
Correct. Yeah.
So these players like kind of their careers go away because of something that's not their fault, and it's to sound like a broken record, but it's not their fault. Like I don't know, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, there's a negative light that like hangs over them for
injuries, but it's like they don't control that.
Their entire life. Like anytime, like you're like, I mean, Greg Oden's back on campus at Ohio State, and I saw a video of him like recently with like a woman like stopping and asking if he played basketball. He's like, yeah, like a long time ago. Which is like, that's sad. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's forever known as being the guy that got picked ahead of Kevin Durant, but like it's not, it's not fair.
It's not, because if he doesn't get injured, who knows?
Yeah,
he's not an Anthony Bennett bust.
No, you get these players that have these long careers where they just like get injured and come back. Like the team doctors kind of speed up the process. They don't take longevity into account in their health down the road.
No,
and you kind of get players like even though as great as he is, like to jump over the NFL, like Gronkowski.
Oh,
dude's just riddled with injuries.
I got another one right after Gronk.
He always just comes back, but just gets injured again because they never take the time to let him heal.
100%. I was actually talking about it with Caitlin, and we were just sitting there, shooting the breeze. And I asked her, I was like, "Can you think of any athletes that had like their career cut short because of injuries?" And she goes, "Gronkowski." And I was like, "Shit!" I was like, "You make a good point. Like, if he stays healthy, can you imagine his counting numbers?
Like, I mean, he's arguably the greatest tight end to play the game.
I mean,
he is." Riddled with injuries.
Like,
what happens when he's not? Like, is he almost ousted to above Tom Brady just being like one of the greatest fucking athletes of all time? Like,
I mean, he's incredible. Like he was unstoppable. His peak is insane. But speaking of Russian athletes back, let's stick with the NFL. RG3. And this one kind of hits home for me. He tore his ACL rookie year in the playoffs at that horrid FedEx Field. And then that following year, I was actually at the Monday night game that he came back for because it was against, the Eagles, and I knew it was Vic's last year starting. And that was the closest game to where I lived in Maine. So I got tickets for it, drove down Monday night, and I saw RG3 live. Coming off the ACL, no preseason, and he just looked slow. The game looked too fast for him, and it was sad to see because like obviously his rookie year was incredible. And then
crazy run.
They rushed him back. And his career just like never panned out to what it should have been. RG3 he was incredible. Like he was
such like a up and coming all-star too. Like he was gonna take over he was what like Patrick
Lamar
Mahomes
Jackson
now. You know what I mean?
He was gonna be like Lamar Jackson before Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
But
that was sad. He never looked right after.
No, he didn't. And like seeing him live, I remember like sitting there with my mom being like, he does not like look good. Like no. Morgan, you want to hit us with one of the baseball ones if you got any left?
Yeah, I got one more left.
All right, cool.
J.R. Richard played 9 seasons with the Houston Astros. He finished with 107 wins, a 3.15 ERA, almost 1,500 strikeouts in 9 seasons.
Damn.
He has 76 complete games in 9 years, and he held the Astros strikeouts in a season record at 313, and Garrett Cole took it over in 2019.
Wait. Like the same Houston Astros that Nolan Ryan played for?
Yes.
Wow.
But no, so the last year he played for the Astros was the first year they had Nolan Ryan.
Okay.
And they were set up as the 1-2 punch to go just hammer it. But in that 1980 season, throwing a baseball around pregame, he ended up collapsing on the field. He ended up being rushed to the hospital, life-saving surgery due to a blood clot in his neck.
Jesus.
Yeah. So he never played again. It was a while. I mean, he tried a few comebacks, but he never really succeeded anywhere. So his 1980 season was his last season he played.
My thing is, guys, go get a physical. Like,
yeah.
I read in 1978 and 1979, he led the league in strikeouts with 616
total
between those 2 seasons.
313 and 303.
That's insane.
616, dude. That's fucking.
I mean, 1,500 Ks in 9 seasons is wild.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not like he was a power pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't. He threw like 96, 95.
Damn.
He wasn't like Nolan Ryan throwing 99, 105, 102, 101.
Still
He just
crazy.
he had great control of the ball.
Then
But yeah,
I
that
remember
story
a
is
stroke
wild.
too. Like,
Damn.
Yeah, that was later.
Yeah,
It was
brutal.
Crazy stories.
My last NBA one I have Yao Ming. Foot injuries, could never, stay healthy on the court. When he was healthy, he was an all-star. He was like Shaq's rival for like a period of time.
Couldn't help T-Mac get out of the first round.
Couldn't, and that's why I won that argument.
Fucking Yao Ming.
Ming,
but
he was
something
else.
It was crazy. Like I remember when he was like came over, it was a huge deal. Like when he came over from China, like him playing in the NBA was huge.
Yeah.
But just never was able to stay healthy. Any of you guys got any NBA guys? I got a lot of football guys left.
I'd written down just because the championship and everything, and then just his career kind of fizzled out with Bynum.
Yeah, and Bynum's a good one.
Just kind of took a turn. He dislocated his knee and stuff like that. And after the 09-010 championships, he just wasn't the same. After
he bounced around. He went to Philly, and then he got hurt his knee bowling, right?
Mm-hmm. Bynum was so good too.
He was very good. Yeah,
watching him on the Lakers. Him and Powell and Ron Artest. Oof. Those three were just nasty defensively.
Yeah.
But
broken bowling. Just like
sorry, Andrew. I know you're listening to this. I apologize personally.
This isn't bowling. This is Nom. This is bowling. There are rules.
Great reference. I'm gonna go. So my next one, NFL, is actually NFL/MLB. Greatest athlete of all time in my eyes, Bo Jackson. Shattered hip, career over.
Yeah.
And when I mean he was the best athlete of all time, he was a Pro Bowler and an All-Star in two different sports.
You know what I read about him is in the NFL, he never played more than 11 games in a season.
Never.
No.
Just couldn't stay healthy. Yeah. He has his highlight reel for only playing, I think, 3 NFL seasons. And then obviously he played more baseball, like 5 or 6, because he was able to come back from that.
Yeah.
But his highlight reel for both sports, it's one of those that you can throw on for 10 minutes and you're just like, this dude is an absolute fucking monster.
Yeah.
Like
him, he was crazy. Very rarely do you never see sport athletes besides like Deion Sanders. Like, I
mean, he was better than Deion Sanders at both.
Yeah.
Deion
Sanders have 2 playoff games in 2 different sports on the same night?
King. Yeah. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
One thing about Deion, he was always iced out, man. Prime time, baby. Prime time.
Prime time.
He was.
That's like a sitcom predicament.
It is.
Being in shit. Which
playoff
championship series
do
I want to fucking go to today?
Another one I just thought of, Glad. Yeah. One of your favorite players, I remember you loving him, Sean Merriman.
He was nasty. He had like a 2-year run where he was one of the best pass rushers in the NFL.
Yeah, he was an absolute animal.
He was. And actually, I just thought of this. I don't know why I didn't think of this before. A baseball one. Obviously, he had a long career, but what could have been? Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
Hamstring came right off the bone.
He lost like 3 years, and he still hit, 660 almost?
I think it was closer to like 616 or something like that.
Yeah, it's still 600 plus, but he lost 3 years.
Lost 3 years, and that first year in Cincinnati, people think he went to Cincinnati and got hurt. No, he hit 40 bombs that first year.
I was gonna say he had 30 or 40. Yeah,
he hit 40, and his surgery. It's crazy. That Griffey story is crazy because he was in the outfield fielding, and he said he pulled his hamstring. Yeah. So they were like, all right, we'll evaluate it, blah blah blah. They do an MRI. The hamstring is literally off the bone.
Wild.
You see a chicken, like a turkey wing or a chicken wing where they hit it and all the meat comes off. That's essentially what his hamstring looked like. So they had to do experiment. Some brisket. So they had to do an experimental surgery where they took screws and screwed it back into the bone on his leg.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was still able to come back and have a mildly successful career, but could never stay as healthy as he should have been. And at that point, if he gets those 3 to 4 extra years, he's not saying he's beating Barry Bonds, but he's in Barry's territory. Like
he's probably 700 plus.
It's a race to see who's going to hit the most home runs. I mean, let's be real. If Griffey never gets hurt, too, Barry gets blackballed for steroids, and Griffey gets to play in the AL and hit DH for another 3 years and get those numbers up. You know what I mean? But
I mean, Barry also lost some time because he had his knee drained a few seasons. So
that's true. Yeah,
he could have easily hit 800.
Plus, he was also on steroids.
Yeah,
allegedly.
I'll Barry in the Hall of Fame though. I'll just say.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was gonna say, I actually had a nice segue into a kind of Ken Griffey Jr., kind of a player whose career wasn't ruined by injuries, but definitely affected him at the end. I would shoot to the NFL. As successful as he was, Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
He had 3 rings, over 32,000 passing yards and stuff like that. But he signed a contract with the Cowboys into his 40s. He had to retire at 34 years old because he had over 10 concussions.
Yeah.
That they couldn't deal with it, and he just had to retire early. I mean, which makes you think if he at least gets 3 more seasons, maybe he goes on to wins another championship, and he's ousted into that argument of maybe a top 10 quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
he might be.
I think he might be with 3 Super Bowls is an absurd number.
Yeah.
And if you get to 4, then I think at that point in time, if he gets to 4, he's in Montana talk. Back then, because obviously we don't have Brady up until that point, but Brady's just ran away with it, doing laps around everybody else. But speaking of, that certain time in the NFL, let's talk about Terrell Davis. He had one of the highest peaks of all time as a running back. He had 4 years where he ran for over 2,000 yards in a season. And then your dad's friend Louis drafted him in the first round with all of his money in the auction draft, and he blew out his knee, and then it was over from there. So shout out to Louis.
That one's on you.
It's crazy he got in the Hall of Fame off 7 years.
If they were 7 incredible years.
Well, they were 4 incredible years, and he tried to come back. So he really got in off 4 years.
But I mean, you look at running backs now. I mean, they don't really play more than 6 for a good running back. The great ones may go 10, unless you're Frank Gore.
I was going to say Frank Gore is still
just a different animal.
I mean,
at 38.
And LaShawn McCoy, man, he's obviously not what he was, but he's still kicking in the NFL, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But one thing about Terrell Davis, I actually got to see him live as a little kid, which was really cool. During his peak, he was nasty against the Patriots, just ran all over him. But he actually, I remember reading a book on him. He had migraines really bad.
Nerd. You read a book?
Terribly, yeah, I did. I read a book this one time, but he had migraines that were so bad that his vision would get blurred and he couldn't see. In the Super Bowl, when Elway, I believe it's the play where he gets helicopter, they run that play action. Terrell Davis couldn't see. Terrell Davis told his coach, I can't see right now. And they ran that bootleg, and they just told Terrell Davis to run to the left, and Elway will take care of it. And that's insane.
That's wild.
Absolutely insane.
I think I remember seeing that in a documentary.
Yeah.
He's
I can't see.
Ray Charles out here.
And I'm going to stick, I think my actual last 2 here for the NFL are running backs. Gale Sayers. People that watched him, I mean, I've listened to Bill Belichick talk about Gale Sayers, and he was just arguably one of the greatest running backs of all time. In his limited time in the NFL, another knee, shocker. But it's definitely what could have been. I know, Morgan, you don't care because he played for the Bears, whatever.
Well, yeah, no. Go Packer. It's about all I got for that segment.
Fair enough. And then my last one, I'm going to stick in New England. Robert Edwards. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that name. Robert Edwards is a running back out of Georgia. Shout out, Morgan. His rookie year in the NFL, he ran for 1,115 yards and 9 TDs. You want to know what derailed this man's career? A flag football game at the Pro Bowl on a beach. He blew his knee out so bad that they said, you may never walk again, and we might have to amputate it.
Whoops.
Alex Smith.
That's insane.
Yeah.
On a beach for an all-star game.
That's horrible.
Looked up and said, did I at least get the TD?
I was in, right?
You're so fucking far out.
Yeah, my old boss at work, Jeff, anytime I brought up like athletes getting injured, he was like, no, he's like, I'm telling you, Robert Edwards, he was the truth, man. Which, sad. And then I think we're going to get to a much sadder portion of our podcast right now. With injuries comes untimely deaths in sports. I'm going to lead it off with one that like hits really close home to me is Sean Taylor. I think he's one of the greatest safeties ever played in the NFL that never got to finish his career.
Absolute monster.
I will never forget watching PTI, and I will never forgive Wilbon Kornheiser for alleging it being gang violence when the man was just protecting his wife and child.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
And that's something that definitely like hits home. The kid was in his 20s and like actually was getting
20, was it 24, 23?
Something stupid young, like definitely younger than all of us right now.
He could still be playing right now.
Yeah, and it's just he was one of the hardest hitters. He was a playmaker. He was all over the field.
Yeah, he was Ed Reed.
Yeah, but bigger. He was 6'4". Like he was a fucking huge monster. Like if you don't know about Sean Taylor, go YouTube him. His highlight reel is insane. And so that one kind of hits close home to me. He was always one of my favorite players growing up. Any team I had like playing, NFL 2K, Madden, I always picked Sean Taylor. He was nasty.
Yeah, Sean Taylor's a beast.
R.I.P. Sean T.
That's kind of how I feel with Jose Fernandez.
Yeah,
he was such an up and coming dominant pitcher coming up in the league for the Marlins. Yep. And that Marlins team was crazy good.
Yeah, they had D. Gordon.
They had D. Gordon. They still had Yelich. I think Stanton was still there.
Yep.
Like they had so much talent, and then they traded it all away because Jeter's an idiot. But
yeah. Why can't we just talk about one topic at a time?
No, but I mean, Jose, he was just that's how crazy baseball is. Because D. Gordon, his best friend on the team, I think it was the day of that game, hits a leadoff home run. He's
never
crying
hits home
right
runs
around the base. He's not a home run hitter, and that's just the power of baseball. I mean, that weird kind of stuff that happens.
It was
wild.
All the hats
on the mound. Yeah.
There was so much speculation around what had happened.
Stuff
like that.
I mean, we're not going to get into like any details with any of these guys, how they pass. It's just, it's sad regardless. I remember one thing about Fernandez. He won, I believe he won NL Rookie of the Year. Did he win a Cy Young as well?
He might have won in 15. It would have been 15.
But real quick, he has one.
I don't think he won a Cy Young.
I don't think he did.
But he was a two-time All-Star.
He has one of the greatest gifts of all time. I believe it's Trevor Story hits a ball that's a laser off the bat, and he catches it. And he goes, "You caught that?" And he goes, "Yeah, I caught that."
Yeah.
Like walking back. And
he's just like,
it'll live in infamy. I mean, the guy had a smile that could light up like any fucking stadium.
Yeah.
So,
in his 4 years, he had an ERA of 2.58, which
he was
crazy.
He was nasty.
This is a sad topic all around, but Len Bias, that one hits close home.
One of the biggest what ifs ever.
That one hits close home to a lot of people that I talk to in the New England area. Len Bias was so good at basketball that Larry Bird was ready to retire. That's how good Len Bias was. Len Bias was supposed to be Michael Jordan times Michael Jordan. He kicked Michael Jordan's ass at UNC when he was at Maryland. He was an absolute man on a court. Yeah. By the way, how did the Celtics get that pick? Like, they just won a championship that year, and they're adding Len Bias to the team. Like, what the fuck?
Just got lucky, I guess.
But he was an absolute monster. And it's just one of those things that, you just have a bad reaction to one thing one time and it's over, Yeah. And, you talk to anybody in Boston, I think it's still, until 2008, I think it honestly still haunted the franchise.
Yeah. Like, they just never won.
Yeah, because that was 87. I think they might have got one more with Larry. They might, or it might have been right after. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I don't think they won after the Len Bias thing.
Maybe they didn't. But regardless, it's like still like a dark cloud that hangs over Boston.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you guys can go next.
I mean,
Deaths.
yeah.
I mean, we can go back to baseball real quick. I know we got a couple. Roberto Clemente,
Yeah.
you know, man was a humanitarian on a whole nother level.
Sure was. My father's probably his favorite baseball player.
Yeah, guy was.
That man's seen a lot of baseball.
Yeah.
Even just overall his impact on the game as a whole.
Yep.
Yeah.
First Latino American to play the game.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. Plane crash, man.
Planes.
It's fucking planes.
And then we got Thurman Munson.
The heart of the Yankees for the 70s.
Yep.
He was an absolute monster, hitting home runs. Just
I don't know if you would consider it untimely just because of how long it took for it to happen, but Lou Gehrig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you still hear about Lou Gehrig today with ALS, man. ALS is honestly one of the worst diseases out there.
And just the fact that recently, I know the MLB had finally kind of, I don't know if celebrate is the right word, but acknowledged.
Honored.
During the games, I know that a lot of players are saying that that's definitely bringing more attention to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good in the long run.
Most definitely. And then, stick with baseball. The most recent one I think that's happened is Tyler Skaggs, pitcher for the Angels.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily on the level as these guys, but still
not as impactful at all. But still, it's very sad.
Yeah, very sad.
It's just a whole ongoing saga now for the family because it's.
I
Just,
remember seeing the games the coming days after or whatever, and just the whole dugout was like. And crying.
They didn't want to be there.
I mean, you got a teammate that's there one day, then the next day you're supposed to go out and play a game and he's not there. Like,
it was like the games, like not that he was playing when it happened, but like when Kobe died, the days after, the Lakers took like a couple days off, whatever. But even the few days after that, they were still just all kind of just like messed up about it. You take that into the Tyler Skaggs situation, obviously not comparable, but like that's the day after, and they're like on the field.
Yeah,
and this dude's just like
horrible job by the MLB there.
Not in the dugout of the MLB, just like that's a tough couple games for those players to go back on the field.
Tough season, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got two more here on the list. Corey Stringer, right tackle for the Vikings, died on the field of a heat stroke during off-season workouts.
That's fucking crazy.
I won't forget that day watching ESPN when he passed. It was a crazy news day. When he passed, it was like everywhere, and that's just like it's one of those things too. With like that's like 2000, like 2000s, and it's like, are we like not understanding like people can die from being out in 100-degree heat for too long and not having enough water?
Drinking water is a sign of weakness, Matt. Come on.
That's one thing I'll never forgive coaches growing up like listening to that shit. It's like, no, dude, you're fucking dumb. Like you're gonna you're having us like running out here in like 90-degree with humidity. Like one of these kids is gonna pass out and die. Like,
well, look at the fucking pitcher the other day in baseball who just like he just threw up on the mound. It's like I'm all set.
Dude, the human body like is only like able to
and
take
it can only take so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. At a certain point, like yes, these dudes do compete at an insane level of athleticism, but they're still fucking people.
Correct. And I think like honestly with all of this, it's a reminder that athletes are humans too,
Yeah.
And then the last one I got, 4th of July, and thank this man for his service, Pat Tillman. This guy was, playing football for the Arizona Cardinals, and then 9/11 happened, and he left to go serve his country, and passed overseas. And I mean, he was incredible at football. Like his statue's still outside of the Cardinal Stadium. It's it's really sad.
That's something like you never see nowadays without like there being a draft and stuff like
that.
Yeah,
like
I remember when we were originally talking about this. I couldn't really bring him into it logically, just given like his illustrious career or whatever. But like even Ted Williams
lost how many years for counting numbers? like got drafted. He was a pilot like in World War II.
Went away, like legitimately served in combat and stuff like that, and came back and was still just a monster.
Yeah.
But definitely took some years off of his career, obviously.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's just
you just don't see that stuff anymore.
And he's like, this man is like, it's 2001 again. Man, like 9/11 happened, and he goes, "I'm going to go serve my country."
And I mean, to give up that lifestyle to go do that is just, I don't even know how one does that. You just got to be built different for that.
Different breed of selfness, like
selflessness.
Yeah, thank you.
Selflessness.
It's unbelievable.
That's what the point's about.
It is, and obviously, anybody listening, that has served, thank you for your service.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yeah. Thanks, Papa Sawyer, Mama Sawyer. We're gonna start cheering up the podcast a little bit. We're gonna get into our weekly wrap up here. And this is my favorite thing that has happened in sports recently. The NCAA. Athletes can get paid for name and likeness. Pay them. You know what? I'm so glad this has finally happened. Fuck the NCAA, first off. You guys are a bunch of fucking crooks. You're not a nonprofit. You're bringing in billions of dollars, and these kids ain't getting a fucking dime. You weren't even letting them go off their name, image, and likeness. You know how much money Johnny Manziel would have made in college?
Tim Tebow.
Millions.
Tim Tebow is by far like the biggest one because he's got so many different angles. But even JJ Redick at Duke, like that, dude would have made
all these athletes that down south for football here about to start making hundreds of thousands of dollars.
They're going to be showing up to class in Bentleys, and they fucking should.
Good.
Good.
They bring so much. The football programs bring so much money, and I know there's other sports, but football brings in so much money to these power schools and all schools really. I mean, they bring in. I mean, they get the TV deals for millions of dollars because of these players. The NCAA is just crooks.
And first off, shout out to Master P. His kid signed a $2 million deal.
He sure did.
Make him say,
You got Barstool Sports out here sponsoring anybody and everybody who wants it.
Good. Like
it's gonna change the layout of the league too, because players aren't gonna just look to the colleges anymore.
Oh no, college sports is about to change because now Nick Saban can go like this. Listen, you come to Alabama, I can get you national championships, more national recognition, and you want to know what? I got 2 car dealerships that'll give you 50 racks minimum to do a commercial for them.
Yeah,
change.
And you're gonna be big timing.
Hopefully, it gets the NCAA disbanded because it's a joke.
It's gonna be like to keep on the stunner sign, Gator boots with a pimped out Gucci suit. But for real. I'm happy. I'm so happy for these athletes. All these people that Reggie Bush gave him his fucking Heisman back.
Yeah, give that man.
Kid took $300K to get his family a fucking house. Shut the fuck up, NCAA. Like all these kids too. Like the majority of them are coming out the projects and like places that
a lot of the money they take is for the family.
It's exactly. It's not even for themselves. They're still eating ramen noodles. It's so mom and dad can get out.
Just in general, dude.
You're
the one getting asses in the seats.
And also, it's going to change college sports.
You're not seeing any bit of that cover.
But like what I mean, like change college sports. Kids aren't going to be jumping at the NFL or the NBA anymore.
Well, they're going to stay in college for a little while.
Because the only reason they were jumping was because of the money.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: if you can stay in you're a mid-tier kind of not upper mid-tier player, and you play for a team like Indiana. Let's just say Indiana basketball. And you have the opportunity to go to the NBA, maybe get drafted in late first, early second, or you could stay in Indiana for another year and get some more sponsorships, commercials, whatever. They're probably going to stay.
But not even with the sponsorships and money and stuff like that. To think that you can get paid now in the NCAA to be a professional athlete, think of those players that you were talking about. Lower tier, mid tier athletes, whatever. Stay in. Get yourself a backup plan.
Yeah.
Going to the league doesn't pan out the way you thought. You've got something to fall back on now, and you've got money.
Yeah, you almost have generational wealth, and you have a college degree.
That's going to be the big killer, because you're going to see a lot of players go into the league, and if it doesn't pan out the way they thought it would, they got some college degree to fall back on. They got their money that they got in the NCAA, and now they're living life.
Yep.
So
I think it's going to help college basketball a lot too.
I think so too. I think college basketball is going to see the biggest impact from it.
Yeah.
But also, it's not going to change the number 1 overall picks. They're still going to come out, obviously. But I think on the whole, this is good for the NCAA. So I'm so happy about it. I can't express that enough.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to the Olympics.
Oh.
And
Sha'Carri Richardson.
Stay off the weed.
She got caught with the devil's lettuce.
Sad. I mean, she's 21 too, which is crazy. Just broke a world record.
She's in the 100-meter, I
Yep.
believe.
Yep.
And fastest woman alive.
Fast one. Not competing at the Olympics. Listen, I mean,
I think she is though, because I think she's eligible to come back for the relay.
I believe I read she is not going to be playing in Tokyo.
No, she's not. I thought I saw somewhere she was gonna be. If she takes 30 days suspension, which I think she did, she comes back just in time for one race or something like that.
Here's the thing. You got rules. You got to follow them. Like, weed's not accepted throughout the world like it's accepted here in the United States, and not even in some states here. You know what I mean?
True.
I mean, Alex Caruso, for Christ's sake, is still getting arrested on Texas A&M campus for possession of weed.
Well, look at Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
He was almost stripped of gold medals
for smoking weed.
And I honestly, off the top of my head, I don't remember how that situation panned out. I'm pretty sure he still has those gold medals.
Oh yeah.
But
what are they going to do? Come to his house and take them?
Like
good luck with that.
Here's the thing: people are complaining. You see on the Twitter machine and stuff that people are like, "Oh, it's not a performance-enhancing drug. If you can be the fastest person alive and still win a race, like you deserve that gold medal anyway." Nobody's calling it a performance-enhancing drug. It is an illegal substance that she took willingly. She knew the rules. Those are the rules. Yes, they're shit, but you know what? Speeding is a bullshit rule too. But if I get pulled over and I say, "Hey, dude, everyone does this rule sucks," he's like, "Yeah, all right, here's your ticket still because you fucked this bit."
Right.
So, that's it. I don't know. Those are the rules, man. I'm sorry. They suck. Try to get them changed, but for right now, you are the one who broke it. So
100%.
And you admitted that you knew you broke it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, she said, she had the reasoning, she was trying to cope with her mother's death, I think.
Some family
but still,
related death.
Yeah.
Rules are rules. Shitty or not, you got to abide by them, especially when you're going into the Olympics, when you're representing your country, and it may not be legal all around your country, let alone the world and stuff.
Yeah, 100% agree. So I think we're getting into one of our bigger controversial subjects here that we've had on the podcast. Laurel Hubbard, the first transgender Olympic weightlifter, not allowed to compete.
Good. He shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Especially
in less of an excited way that Morgan said good. Yeah, I mean, good. I don't know,
it's one thing if you're transgender and you start that way, like coming out as a teenager and doing that. But to transition in your late 30s when you've been competing competitively in weightlifting to now try and go to the women's side, that's just not fair. Men are stronger than women. It's just a fact.
To be a biologically born man and to consistently lose in weightlifting competitions and then to transition to a woman and then win, I don't know. I don't think it's fair to the women who have been in that competition before.
Not at all.
It's definitely like you're teetering a line between whether or not you're not being inclusive or whatever, but I don't know, dude. It's weird. It's weird.
So I actually disagree with both of you at this as some recent information that has been given to me. So first off, I don't think we should judge anybody on when they want to, make their transition. Doesn't matter if you want to do it as a teenager or in your 30s. That being said, so Laurel, tested under the amount of testosterone that you're allowed to have in your body for multiple years. I actually learned about this week. So your body,
only 18 months she had to be tested under it.
18 months, but it was over 2 years that she tested under it. So at that point, your body's still the same composition. Obviously, you're getting hormones, for the transition in order for you to become a woman. So if you're not having that level of testosterone, there's no competitive advantage physically because you don't have that testosterone to put the muscle on.
Did it get rid of the muscle she had?
I still think the testosterone level is still even higher than women.
Did it get rid of the muscle? Did it get rid of the muscle she had when she was a man?
Then what's the guideline though? Like the guideline is under a certain amount of testosterone. She abided by those rules, so hypothetically, she should be able to compete.
Okay, but you're okay. So you're saying there's a guideline to be under a certain level of testosterone.
Correct.
Why does that exist?
For situations like this.
Okay, when did that come into play? What was the original rule? Just like
I think it was around like 2017.
And compete with
so are they going to let the females start taking testosterone to equal that level?
I don't listen.
If they want to allow that, then fine. But
like it's it's we're walking a fine line here.
Okay, so she tested underneath the testosterone level.
Yep.
Then fine. That's the science is behind it. But why do you see so many things of men transitioning to women, going to women's sports, and just completely shattering the fucking records?
Well, because obviously they're doing it.
They're off.
They are doing it before. Oh, I'm off. No,
I can hear you. You're good. You're good.
I was gonna say Morgan can hear me. So they are. Yeah, it might be you. Sounds like a you issue over there.
Having some technical difficulties, and it's not me on this show.
Yeah, shout out Morgan.
Let's go.
You lost my volume.
Oh, there you go. You're back. Can you hear me? Oh no, we can't. But anyways, so I forgot the question now. Oh, why are guys dominating women's sports? Well, because they're obviously not under that level of testosterone yet. You're having, teenagers who are transitioning in high school, like that kid in Texas, that she transitioned over to girls wrestling like while she was still in high school, and the transition was very early on, I believe. So that's why you're having like these guys going to girls sports and dominate. So that's my explanation for that.
So you mean to tell me, hypothetically, you got LeBron James. If he tests under this testosterone limit and is able to play with women, that's fair?
I mean,
in what world is that fair?
If that's what LeBron James wants to do, then that's what he wants to do. Like that, those are the guidelines, man.
There's no chance that's fair at all. Zero, none, zilch.
It's weird that you're saying that these are the guidelines because they're put into place now, but there were none beforehand. So was there no rule beforehand just to stop that from happening regardless?
I don't think it was as prevalent as it is like now.
Well, definitely, for sure, it wasn't as
literally look in the past 5 years about like the outside world of what's going on with that, and it's completely changed.
But you just hear so many stories of men transitioning to women.
It's like high school sports though, and they're still in high school. Like the kids are like 3 months into their transition. No shit, they're going to go out there and dominate. They're at that point. Some of those kids aren't even getting the hormones; they're just identifying as a girl. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, if you think right now that testing for illegal substances and cheating in sports is fucked up now, you're going to get yourself into some fucking crazy territory.
Yeah. Give it a few years. I mean, honestly, I don't think it's a big of a deal because, it is what it is. Like, but the Olympics also, like this past week, they're catching a lot of flack for not being inclusive and not being progressive. So I'm interested to see how it all pans out over there in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Now, the one that's in the Olympics is a weightlifter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we not think this is the slightest bit of coincidence? That's the one that's shattering shit?
I'm not here to judge.
It's not me judging. It's making an observation.
I don't know. The whole transgender athlete thing, they're going to have to come up with their own set of rules and make their own division because there's no way it's ever going to be fair.
So at what point do you think that they're just like, fuck it, it's co-ed?
All right, so here you go. So in 2015, it changed the rules, allowing transgender athletes to compete as a woman if their testosterone levels are below a certain threshold.
So they got to make weight.
Essentially.
Jesus Christ.
At what point does it become co-ed and just all sports are intersex?
Yeah, I mean,
Never.
Why not? If they just made those rules for that, then why couldn't in the NFL they just go, as long as everybody's not above this or below this, then you're good to go.
I mean, that's what I brought up with the LeBron thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but like, what's stopping them?
I don't know what's stopping them.
Because the way the world is right now is no matter which way you go, this direction or that direction, you are putting yourself in trouble of getting in trouble with people who are saying you're not being inclusive or progressive. So at what point do you give in because you want to keep your ratings to just be like, fuck it?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we'll get to that point here soon, and we'll be talking about it here on the State of Sports.
I'm sure we will. I mean, and look, I have nothing against it, but I've got questions.
Fair.
Hey, if you want to play, if the girls want to play, let them play. If the boys want to play in girls' sports, let them play. Fuck it. I could care regardless. It's entertainment at the end of the day. That's all it is.
For sure.
And we like watching it and we like talking about it. But I just have questions of what's allowed and what's not allowed and why those things are allowed and not allowed.
Absolutely 100% fair.
And at what point of the day they just like open the fucking floodgates.
Yeah. So let's I'm actually gonna throw a curveball at you guys for UFC, and because we're talking about women versus men. What weight class do you think Amanda Nunes could beat up to? Because she fights at 135. Do you think she could beat up a 115-pound man?
No chance. Zero.
I think she could.
I think zero is abrupt.
Zero?
Like
I'm a big Amanda Nunes fan, but I don't
0%, dude. You're like just removing any sort of possibility that even out of sheer luck she couldn't win that fight. You're saying zero?
I don't think she has a chance.
She couldn't get a lucky hit in.
I don't think so.
Morgan clearly doesn't have respect for women.
I just don't think the muscle mass between men and women are different. Even at 115, a 115-pound man's still stronger than Amanda Nunes.
I don't know. Like, I mean,
maybe an untrained fighter or like a low-level fighter, but she's not going to beat anybody fighting in the UFC.
Oh, I think a low-level UFC fighter she can 100% beat. Like at 115, oh yeah, easily.
I don't know about easily, but
this brings up a lot of potentials.
It does.
In sports, just in sports in general.
Well, I mean, like, you guys remember back in the day when Jenny Finch was pitching to MLB hitters, they couldn't hit her for shit. But then again, it's a different, pitch angle and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I've always had sort of a like a question that I've mulled around in my head.
Oh boy.
And I'm not even going to answer it because I'll let you guys get in trouble.
Sick. I don't mind stirring up some controversy.
All right. Now, hear me out. Let me write this down in a graph so I can see what I'm talking about. All right. So you got two teams. All right. The worst NBA team and the best WNBA team. All right. So the worst man's and the best women's. Now take the worst man and put him on the best WNBA team, and put the best WNBA player and put them on the worst men's team. Which one do you think at least gets an 8 seed?
So, to quote the great man, Dwight Schrute, one's a sport, one's a joke. I love sports, and I love jokes.
Jesus Christ. First off, no disrespect to women's basketball on here. None. They hoop just like the rest of us, all right?
They do.
That being said,
their final scores are way fucking lower, but they do.
Oh my god, you guys are fucking. It's a different game, man.
It's the same game, actually.
Ball smaller. Yeah, it's a different game.
Okay.
I will say, in my defense to this, I played a lot of basketball up at UMaine in the rec center, And
he got beat by a lot of women. So
yes, actually. Yeah, the best player I ever played basketball with in pickup, her name was Jasmine Player. She was the starting point guard at Baylor all 4 years she was there. And she was one of the most disgusting basketball players I've ever played with. Literally, like, had a crossover like Allen Iverson, could go by anybody, didn't matter. But that being said,
how is your mom, by the way?
That being said, to answer your question, the worst NBA player is dragging them to an 8 seed.
You think so?
Yes.
You don't think now you don't think an NBA team removing the worst player from their team
No,
and putting the best WNBA
the worst player on the NBA team's not playing to begin with.
No.
So it can't hurt the chances.
I mean, who would we say is the best WNBA player?
Just go all time. Just go all time.
Maya Moore or Lisa Leslie?
Lisa Leslie. Go Lisa Leslie.
I go Maya Moore before I go Lisa Leslie.
Okay, what do you think is one of the worst NBA players in a starting five? Let's say that. In a starting five.
Oh, no, because you can't do that. The worst NBA player that came to my mind is Brian Scalabrine.
But he's still boss.
And he still like goes out there and like he's like, oh, you think you can beat me one-on-one? Okay. And he just goes out there and dominates people.
So you think if the Celtics get rid of Brian Scalabrine and bring in Lisa Leslie, they're worse off?
I don't think it changes because she's not playing.
Yeah.
She's not even cracking the 8-man rotation.
Now, you say she's not playing because you're comparing it to the fact that he didn't get any minutes? Or you don't think she could prove herself to get enough minutes?
I don't think she's better than Brian Scalabrine at basketball.
What would you have to support that? Because as far as I'm concerned, Brian Scalabrine ate Cracker Jacks on the sideline.
First off, don't disrespect Brian Scalabrine, NBA champion. First off.
Yeah, and Steve Nash is a champion too.
No, I'll get in trouble for it. That's fine. Yeah, they're just not cracking the rotation. It is what it is. Like,
you don't think the best WNBA player would make it in the men's league? I mean, maybe in the NBA.
Maybe Candace Parker is the 8th person, like the 3rd person off the bench. Maybe. It doesn't affect the team though. Like, how often does the 8th person affect where the seeding is in the NBA?
Mario Chalmers.
Mario Chalmers is the father of my child.
You guys are fucking sexist.
Says the one who set up the question.
Yeah.
I set up the question. I didn't give an answer.
God damn. But, you know.
I gave you the tools to be your own boss.
Fair. So, you know, that being said, shout out women's basketball.
Well, it's been a great show, guys. It's probably our last episode.
Yeah, it's probably our last episode. We're going to get panned across everything.
You know what? Perfect segue. Let's go right into Trevor Bauer.
Oh, fuck. Okay, all right. I got to keep this on the rails. We're going to go back to UFC real quick. Morgan, McGregor versus Poirier preview. Who you got? What round? Give me a prediction. I need you to be a professional.
I'm a McGregor diehard. I don't know. He's got to figure out how to defend the leg kicks. If he does that, he probably knocks him out in the 3rd round.
Nick, Irish flag in the background. When's McGregor winning the fight?
Saturday.
No, it could be Sunday. Card might run late.
Definitely gonna run late.
I think he's gonna take him before the halfway mark.
Okay, so
I think Connor's taking this one.
Somewhere in the second.
It's the end of the trilogy. I think Conor McGregor's gonna win it.
Decision, McGregor.
Decision.
I don't see decision between these two.
Yep.
I think they're both too explosive to have it end decision.
I think it's gonna end in TKO.
Man just says let's go to Trevor Bauer.
Jesus Christ.
Happy 4th of July, everybody. Let's go to the NBA. Luka says a gold medal means more than a finals win. Agree?
For his country.
No.
For his country, he said.
Yeah.
Like not for yeah.
I mean, if
maybe for his country since they've never been at the Olympics, but
I mean, hey, it's his personal preference.
Yeah.
He's saying what it means to him. He's not saying for everybody.
Yeah, I get it. I mean,
I can't say he's wrong.
they're not going to be Team USA, so it doesn't really matter. But
I mean, Luka could
But
be
if
Team
anybody
USA.
If anybody could, it's him.
he's no Pau Gasol.
Oh my god. Yeah, Slovenia. Their team's actually pretty good.
It's the first time
The
they've made the
deadliest man
Olympics.
alive.
So I'll be interested to see how the Olympic Games go. Hopefully USA, wins the gold medal.
Sure they will.
Maybe. I don't know.
Who do you think wins that besides them?
I mean, we got Kevin Durant. We're fine, actually. Never mind. I
Is
take
he
back what I
confirmed?
said. Yeah, he's confirmed.
Yeah.
Committed.
So it's James Harden, right?
Yeah. I mean, James Harden just wants to see the strip clubs in Tokyo. I don't know how much he's actually going to be playing.
As much as he plays now.
King.
Yeah.
Let's get into some more controversy. Rachael Nichols. Goddamn, Rachel. Mike's always hot.
Now you guys told me about this before we started recording, and I hadn't heard this story yet, so fill me in.
Rachel Nichols
Broke today.
so the story broke today. Rachael Nichols was upset with ESPN that Maria Taylor was awarded the NBA Finals gig. And she said that she was awarded the NBA Finals gig because of ESPN's problem with diversity. She essentially alluded to Maria Taylor got the finals because of Black Lives Matter.
Oh boy.
And
And now they heard her say this on a hot mic.
they heard her say it on a hot mic. And here's the thing, too. ESPN earlier this week also put out a story because Maria Taylor left ESPN saying that Maria Taylor was a diva looking for Stephen A money. So ESPN knew this story was coming out. So they put the bad word out there on Maria Taylor.
Yeah.
Why does ESPN continuously get in hot water with this shit?
They're owned by Disney.
It's not a bad argument.
No, it's not.
I mean, it hasn't been the same since Dan Patrick left.
So what is in store for Rachael Nichols?
I don't know.
She gets the boot?
No.
No, she's
Nope.
too popular.
Yeah.
They won't get rid of her because she's a. No, I'm not going to say that. Never mind.
Jesus Christ, Morgan. You've done enough already.
I just think she's too popular that they're not going to.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Morgan.
I mean, I follow her on Instagram.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's get to one of your guys' favorite subjects, MLB. Got some All-Stars announced.
Sure do.
Sure did. Cubs only had 2, so that was fun.
Cubs suck.
Cubs are terrible.
Cubs are
Trash.
god awful.
Javier
Right
Baez couldn't even find first base. He turned around.
While we're on the subject of the Cubs, let's bash the Yankees as well. Yankees stink too.
The Yankees are so fucking bad. Dude, could you imagine spending $342 million on a pitcher who can't even fucking pitch a baseball?
No more spider tack, man. I can't throw anymore.
For Pete's sake. I can't pitch.
Guy stinks.
Hey,
Talking about you,
Did you know
Garrett.
that he has more earned runs in his last 2 starts than Jacob DeGrom does the entire season? Garrett calls a fucking knob. He's a clown.
Dude is getting paid $342 million, so stay hot, King. But Yankees suck. I think it's hilarious.
It's not to play baseball, that's for sure.
I think it's hilarious to listen to the Yankees starting to talk about how they should be sellers at the trade deadline and not buyers. It's like, oh, you guys are just understanding this. Good job, guys.
We'll see what the Cubs do.
Because you guys wasted $400 million on a glorified hot dog vendor. Over here, gotcha.
Let's stay in New York. Our favorite player, Degrom, ERA went up a little bit.
To a .95.
Still under a 1, so I'm sad it's not .69 anymore.
He had a bad outing, and he left the field still the best pitcher in baseball. So
for sure, he won't be playing in the All-Star game. While we're also on the subject of the All-Stars,
yeah, that's disappointing.
Doesn't like pitching in Colorado. Last time he pitched there, he got super fucked up, if I remember correctly, right? Got sick and stuff. Morgan.
I'm going to go on a limb here, because this being a positive DeGrom podcast, and without my bias, say that's some horseshit. tell me you can't play in an MLB stadium as an MLB player?
It's the altitude's too high, Nick.
So go there a couple days before and get acclimated, Jacob.
It's too high.
They're playing games right before because the All-Star game's on a Monday and Tuesday. So.
Yeah, because
the exact days those games should be fucking played on if you want a lot of viewers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's some bullshit, dude. You can't play in the All-Star game because it's in Colorado.
He just wants the rest. That's all he wants.
He just wants the rest. He just wants the rest for the second half.
Get it? Make it. Then say you don't want to play.
Well, might as well have an excuse if you can have an excuse.
Don't say it's because it's. So what happens if he has to face Colorado?
Hey, here's my thing, man. Do you call out of work when you're not sick?
Never.
I call out of work when I'm not sick.
That's what DeGrom's doing.
Yeah, I don't get paid $1 million.
Fair. So
having said that, I love you, Jacob.
I love you too, Jacob. So while we're on the subject of DeGrom, I do want to put this out there. So next week is actually going to be a 2-episode week for us. We're going to have our episode with Murph Sunday. With obviously, I already talked about that. We'll go into our weekly wrap up. We're going to have home run derby picks. Chomp King Vladdy Jr. That's my pick. Is he doing it? He's doing it, right?
No, I didn't think Vladdy was doing it.
Vlad's not confirmed for the home run derby.
No, there's still 3 spots left, I think.
Damn, Morgan's
Vlad and Tatis not in.
Oh, yeah, that's tough.
Acuna going?
Who?
Acuna
Jr.?
I know
Ohtani's
confirmed, right?
I had the list. Hold on. Of the ones
I believe Ohtani's confirmed.
It's Ohtani, Salvador Perez.
Yuck.
You know what? We're gonna get into this next week.
Yeah, we'll get into it next week.
Trevor Story, Pete Alonso, Trey Mancini.
Okay. So very quickly, we're gonna be doing that. We'll have our home run derby picks. We'll obviously do the weekly wrap up what we normally do, and also our second episode of the week. It's gonna be all baseball. We're having a second half preview.
Baseball.
We're making picks.
Baseball heavy.
We're making MVP picks, Cy Young picks, division winners, World Series champion, playoff run. We'll do the bracket just like we did with the NBA. See who's going to be right, who's going to be wrong.
I'll be right, like I was in the NBA. I had the sense.
You got half the bracket right, just like Nick and I did.
Yeah, but I had the cooler half.
No, you didn't. No, you fucking had the Portland Trailblazers in the final. Shut the fuck up.
I don't know what you're talking about. I said ride or die with Chris Paul. That's all I remember.
Somebody go back into that.
Check the tape.
All right.
So that's gonna be our second episode next week. I'm really excited for that one. Definitely do some research on everything. We'll have a good conversation.
Talk about some sluggers.
Yeah,
past and present.
100%. Just to pull it back real quick, we're gonna go into the talking tater section.
Ooh, we had some taters.
Let's get into it. You want to know what? I'm going with a team. Red Sox, perfect homestand.
Perfect homestand and a double sweep. They won 8 in a row, and it took the Oakland Athletics 12 innings to beat them by 1. So
the Dodgers also haven't lost since they got no hit by the Cubs.
They are hot. Both these teams are hot, folks. I'm sure both of these teams will be in our predictions next week.
Absolutely. And shout out to JD Martinez for making it to the All-Star game for the Red Sox.
Shout out JT.
Left
side of the infield. Left side of the infield, baby. Bogarts and 2 scoops, Rafi.
Yep.
No, Rafi. No slap ass.
The Red Sox are fucking crushing it right now.
They're a wagon.
So good. Just so good.
Speaking of All-Stars, Morgan's best player in MLB, Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani.
First MLB player to be a 2-way All-Star.
Daddy.
Oh. Fuck yeah, daddy. So really quick on that note, I've been watching way too much Nick Merckx lately because apparently in my sleep the other night, Caitlin goes, You said, fuck yeah, daddy.
I want to know what your dream was. Is really what this is.
He was like, I didn't watch him at all today.
Yeah. I didn't watch Nick Merckx play at all today. What's going on?
You tell me.
So I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, Ohtani. He had another bomb today, right?
At 31 now.
31.
The dude's unreal.
Dude's on pace to hit 62 home runs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dude, I've never seen somebody who can do it all like this. This is insane.
Yeah.
I don't even
100%.
think Ruth was like this because Ruth wasn't that good of a pitcher. He was okay, but he wasn't like dominant like Ohtani is.
And he's going to the All-Star game as a pitcher and a DH.
Which is I want to see how that works because he's gonna hit for 2 innings and then come in pitching, which is
basically
not how it works usually in baseball. So
I mean, they're gonna get him on both sides. Obviously, he's Shohei Ohtani.
Side note: did you see the guy for the Rays, the fielder that came into the game the other day in a 10-1 game?
No.
First pitch was 94 miles an hour, and then the rest of his pitches were like 45.
What?
He just got up there and just threw gas.
He threw one pitch, just heater, top right above the chest high, and then he just started like throwing like curveballs, just like lobbing it in there. It was hilarious.
I love position players when they get on the mound. It's my favorite.
Stepped up to the speed gun. He's like, I'm winning that purple elephant.
the dugout was like, oh shit.
That purple elephant.
And then they were like, oh shit.
Exactly.
Could you imagine though how crazy that crowd's gonna go if somehow Ohtani manages to strike out the side and then hit a fucking home run?
That'll be fucking insane.
Could you imagine in an All-Star game?
That's one thing I do want to talk about next week. You boys got to remind me of that. I want to talk about some of your favorite All-Star moments of all time.
Oh, I got a few.
Like we got a couple like Ted Williams at Fenway, Pedro at Fenway, and then
Ken Griffey in the home run derby.
We can always talk about Torrey Hunter, robbing Barry Bonds.
Nope. That highlight is not real.
Oh, just because he said that, I'm definitely talking about that next week. In next week's TikTok about our episode, we'll include that highlight. Good job, Morgan.
I'm muting myself for that conversation.
Talking Taters too. Kyle Schwarber, man, sad he pulled his hamstring, but that dude was hitting bombs this week.
He was hitting some piss missiles.
That ball explodes off his bat.
Yeah,
he's the best power leadoff hitter ever.
Yeah. I mean, he's been doing it for a month, dude. Chill.
And exactly. I know we're into
my point.
We're into talking Taters, but it's a single game accomplishment, and I think it counts because talking Taters, we're talking home runs. Trey Turner hitting the cycle on his birthday.
That's right. Yeah.
Third cycle.
Third. That's crazy.
He wanted that triple so bad. If you watched it, he ill-advised turn past second base.
The thing is, though, is if you have that on your mind, like you're hitting for the cycle and you get one in the gap, you're trying for 3 no matter what.
He hit it. He hit second base and kept running, and then slid into third and just beat the shit out of the ground in excitement when he found out.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
It was a great cycle. All 3 of them too were like incredible hits.
Yeah.
So that was nice to see. I haven't seen a good cycle in a while.
3 cycles.
Yeah, shout out Trey Turner.
I haven't seen a good one in a while. I think the last great cycle I've seen was like Brock Holt
Trey
World
Turner
Series. Brock Holt World Series.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Rockstar.
So let's get into some negative baseball news. Trevor Bauer put on a 7-day paid leave due to sexual assault allegations.
Yeah, supposedly he strangled a woman until she was unconscious. And I guess like it started off as consensual, led into some maybe non-consensual territory. He's also, this is piggybacking off of some previous stuff that he's dealt with in the past. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. MLB, what are you doing? I don't understand. 10 games for using a substance on your glove, but 7 days for assaulting a woman? That math does not make sense.
Allegedly.
I don't understand. I don't care if it's allegedly. It should still be more than using a substance.
No, it shouldn't,
baseball.
because you can't.
Yeah.
Allegations are not guilty convictions.
Correct.
It's not the same. You didn't get caught cheating. It's not proved or anything yet. Like, we don't want to play the side of the accused or the accuser, but you can't just like say that he did it before knowing he did it. Yeah. That's why the heck to like we, to go to kind of backtrack a little bit to the last episode when we were talking about Hector Santiago getting taken out of that game for some foreign substances on his glove. Take the glove away and stuff like that, but should they have ejected him? Because they don't know what the fuck was on there.
Yeah, did they ever figure that out, by the way? Has that come out yet?
They bagged it for whatever, but they
But,
put
like,
it in like a plastic
like,
bag and it wasn't sealed and it
you
was
accused him of cheating, and then just kind of told him he was cheating.
Well, yeah, it's like two things too. It's like, well, MLB is going to have to apologize for him saying that there's nothing on his glove, or he's going to have to apologize for him saying that he didn't have anything on his glove and he was lying.
So yeah, but
So-
I mean, just with the Trevor Bauer thing, it's like if he did that, obviously that's fucking horrible, and he should be sent away and not allowed to play, whatever. But as far as an allegation goes, you can't just treat it like he did it because you don't know. So
I mean, like, and let's be real, like the bad thing about sports is sports don't give a shit what type of person you are off the field.
no,
Like Chapman has literally beat the shit out of his wife, if I remember correctly.
at
a
gunpoint.
lot of them.
Like, and then like we had like Marcel Ozuna this year as well. Like these guys, man, like, and like let's not even get started on NFL players. Like Ray Lewis literally murdered a guy.
Ray
I'm
Rice,
pretty sure
Yeah.
Ray Lewis was
Tyreek Hill.
arrested for obstruction of justice
Yeah, and like
because he wouldn't tell what happened.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing: 3 guys went out on a boat, 2 came back. I think you can do the math.
Yeah, one of the dudes saw a fish he liked and fell off.
There you go. But you know, regardless, yeah, like Tyreek Hill is like a superstar in the NFL, and he literally has admitted to beating up his pregnant girlfriend in college.
Yeah, that's
Like they don't; these teams don't.
If you have
care.
talent, they don't care.
Yeah.
well, that's what you get into when you're dealing with people as a product.
Yep.
That's what it is. They should
So
lose him money, you know.
a little Tyreek Hill segue here. NFL, we're less than a month out from training camp. So we got a busy season coming up here. We're going to have crazy baseball down the stretch. August, we're going to have training camp. Definitely this August, I want to have like an NFL preview show. I'm going to make Nick do some research. You know, guessing MVPs and all that fun stuff. I'm excited for the NFL. You know, my Jags got Trevor Lawrence. I'm excited to see how his rookie year is going to pan out. We'll finally get an end to the Aaron Rodgers saga.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's not playing.
I don't even pay attention anymore.
I think
It's not worth until the season starts. I really don't care. Whatever happens, happens. I'm tired of just hearing all the drama around it.
fair
It's
enough.
rigged anyway.
Cowboys are on Hard Knocks, Nick. You're Dallas Cowboys. Will you watch?
I mean, I'll check out the first episode. It's probably gonna suck.
Yeah, I mean, all Hard Knocks are the same.
Yeah, what's Jerry Jones there?
Probably.
I want to see if they show McCarthy getting massages.
I watch Terry
Jesus.
Bradshaw's new show.
Well,
Bradshaw's. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
He's got him walking around with pugs and shit.
I don't know.
Um,
I think the Cowboys are they're a boring team.
I mean,
They don't really have Zeke's their personality really, but Dak's boring. McCarthy's the most boring coach I've ever seen.
I'm curious to see how Dak's gonna look this year. Very curious for that. Coming off that ankle injury.
Is that a lot of time off?
Bro, Tony Romo, you gotta hope it's just a cramp, Jim.
Dude, his knee, his
ankle is just dangling
backwards.
just like flopping.
You know, Jim, you gotta hope it's just a cramp.
It might just be a cramp, Jim.
Oh man, God bless Tony Romo.
Oh my god, that's so stupid.
Incredible. So speaking of cramps, this would give me a cramp. Let's end it on this. Joey Chestnut breaking his world record of 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
Happy fourth.
Disgusting.
Long live the king.
14-time champion.
14 time. He can literally do what LeBron James did. Not 1, not 2. Up to
All the way to
14.
76.
But he actually did it. So.
Incredible,
Joey.
Joey.
Joey Chestnut is an American hero.
He is. I love
The pride of the USA.
Yeah, Nathan's hot dog eating contest every 4th of July. It's clockwork. Joey Chestnut's winning.
Yeah.
I actually got into a conversation about that earlier today, and I was talking about like Kobayashi. You guys remember Kobayashi?
They
Yes.
do.
Oh man, incredible, man. Competitive eating is just I don't know what's more American than competitive eating.
Is Joey Chestnut in the Pantheons?
I mean,
He's on Mount Rushmore.
we
Greatest
will have a conversation about like who's the goat of goats, and Joey
There's an
Chestnut will
argument
be
to be
mentioned.
made. There's an argument to be made.
I mean, do you
Who doesn't
consider
lose?
professional eating a professional sport?
That shit's hard.
I mean, if they consider
You
curling,
you try eating 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes. You can't do it.
I guarantee you, it's harder than badminton.
Fair. Well, on that note, do you guys have anything else before we get out of here? Any other controversial takes, Morgan? Any
I'm not the only one who said shit.
any hard hitting questions, Nick?
Hard hitting questions?
Yeah,
No, but I'll think of some for next time.
please don't.
I mean, do you guys want to talk about real shit, or do you want to talk about real shit? I'll end on my note from me that Red Sox won tonight.
Go Sox. 1-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Cubs haven't won a game since the no-hitter.
Well, they stink.
It's not going good.
That being said, folks, thank you for stopping by the State of Sports podcast. Morgan and Nick, I hope you guys have a great rest of your morning, I should say, because we're approaching midnight here.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week. We'll have a packed episode next week. We'll have Nocturnal on. Ed Reed versus Ronnie Lott. We're going to have that UFC wrap up. I'm sure there's going to be crazy baseball news. We'll do some home run derby predictions, maybe some Aaron Rodgers news. Who knows?
Probably not.
Obviously, I mean, we, haven't really touched on it. NBA finals will be coming up as well.
Yep.
We'll have a couple of games under our belt. Stanley Cup, who gives a
Might
shit?
interrupt 3-0, but
That's all the time we have for hockey today. And boys, I hope you have a great rest of your night. See ya.
Happy 4th, everybody.